After ranking a website within 24 hours, pulling over 500,000 views on social media, I got over 350 leads on different networks for my business and also got first cash collected, all using OpenClaw. I'm now finally able to give a full beginner's guide course on setting up a multi-agent OpenClaw that you are going to be able to use to spawn workflows and automate your business or your life in whatever way you see fit to start making money with OpenClaw. So without further ado, let's jump into who I am and why you should listen. All right, so the video today I have for you is extremely meaty, and I'm thinking that you're gonna wanna stay until the end. If this is giving you OCD, I'm really sorry. I had to make it really interesting to look at. So a little bit quickly first about me and why you should be listening, right? So I'm Kevin Jeppesen, and I run an SEO and GEO agency called Ascendly.com, where we scale businesses using SEO, email marketing, and advertising, and we also sell AI services at omnibuzz.ai. I run my 7-figure SEO and GEO agency now for over 4 years. I launched my own SaaS just a couple of weeks ago. I spoke at the Shenzhen SEO conference last year, and we can see the results here. 400,000 views on Facebook. We got over 200,000 views on X, and we got a bit on YouTube as well. We got leads on LinkedIn. As you can see, these are just some of the posts, and here's my SEO project, which I launched the 18th, and I ranked within 1 day or 24 hours, and it is also still growing. My newsletter list is also growing as well, and I'm basically able to do automated lead magnets and content farms and ideas into my Discord 24/7, basically. Let's jump into what you're gonna learn today, so that you kind of have an idea of what we're gonna cover. And I'm gonna see if I can use the little pencil here. So we're gonna go over the basics of OpenClaw. I'm gonna keep that very brief because I'm sure you already know what it is. We're gonna go over VPS versus local and what you should be getting. And then we got the beginner-friendly guide to setting up your OpenClaw to run 24/7. And it's going to be good for non-technical people. It's going to fix common errors that people encounter. You're going to connect your API. We're going to get OpenClaw up and running. And I'm not going to show you how to connect your calendar or set up a morning brief or all these useless use cases. I'm going to show you how to use Discord and channels to 10x your potential with OpenClaw. Like, it's going to be so much more powerful than Telegram. And everybody's showing you Telegram. I don't really get the idea. I did Telegram in the beginning, but in my experience, Discord just takes the cake. I'm going to show you the Northstar Framework that I made specifically for this video, and this is going to help you make OpenClaw truly yours. I'm also going to teach you how to install skills and my recommended skills without bloating your OpenClaw. So we're going to basically make a knowledge base cost effective, keep learnings almost permanent, and make your agents self-improving, which is freaking amazing. All right, so we're going to make OpenClaw 50 times more powerful with dedicated agents. I cannot say that it's 50 times more powerful, but it is if you had 50 agents, it is definitely 50 times more powerful, and it makes me feel 50 times more powerful just by having dedicated agents that you can run in parallel and they can work together. And we're going to reduce your cost even more, and it's not going to be a fake setup like the other videos you see on YouTube. We got cost optimization, so we're going to reduce your cost heavily. In the beginning, you will spend a little bit of money. I'm figuring you're going to spend around $20 to set this up, but more than that, not at all. And then we're going to talk about making your OpenClaw secure, and we're going to set up your first automated workflow. That is the video. It is a meaty ass video. And finally, after all that, you're going to basically have all the brain unlocks to start scaling and making money with OpenClaw. And basically, imagination is the limit here, really. And keep in mind now, it is a long video, and if you don't have the attention span for it, set it to 1.5x the speed and follow along and pause as you need, or simply click off the video, because if your attention span is not good enough for this video, then your attention span is probably not good enough for OpenClaw. And you might already have OpenClaw set up, so just skip through the video to what you want to learn. You can always come back to the video, so make sure that you save it somewhere. You can even feed this video to your OpenClaw to have it do the things I'm telling you, but you need to watch it so you can understand it as well, because otherwise your OpenClaw is going to break. And I've broken my OpenClaw a few times already. If you are having any issues, just join my school group and let me know there and I'll be happy to help you out with whatever you're facing. Let's now jump into the basics of OpenClaw. And I'm going to keep this very brief since you probably already know about OpenClaw since before. But yeah, OpenClaw is basically the AI that actually does things. It's able to basically grab your instructions and set up automated workflows to actually use your web browser, use your email, use different tools, and use different websites to basically automate parts of your life. Here are some of the use cases that I'm using OpenClaw for me right now, which is researching trends. I have it send me trend reports on whatever is happening within AI, SEO, or e-commerce so that I'm always on top of my niche and my industry. I'm automating my SEO for a few of my projects. It creates social media posts for me, and not the image type, but actually writes really, really good posts that are in my voice based on the ideas that I send it or the ideas that I have on the fly. And I like to basically talk instead of writing. So I basically just talk whatever my idea is. It basically asks me questions, and then it constructs them into a good little post for me. Launching lead magnets and handles my email marketing. So it's connected to my kit, and it basically is able to write me nice emails, but also to use my subscription box to create a new page and launch my lead magnets. So all of these things, they can interconnect. It can do my coding, just like Claude Code. Now for coding, I do actually recommend Claude Code. You don't need OpenClaw to do this for you, except if you are using a database system. Now we're going to talk a little bit in another video about doing a handoff system so you can have OpenClaw and Claude Code work together. We do article writing, so it can write articles for me. And then whatever you can framework is important here. These use cases are mine. But whatever you can framework or whatever you have a standard operating procedure for, an SOP, you can automate that. So let your imagination be your limit. All right, so that's everything about OpenClaw. Let's now jump into VPS versus local. Both of these options are fantastic. Now, the truth is here that not everybody has access to a Mac Mini or a Mac Studio, and they don't really have the cash to spend on something that they want to just try out. Basically, it runs 24/7 if you're running it on a VPS, and it is also inherently safe for you to run it on a VPS as well. And in my opinion, it is quite beginner friendly as long as you have somebody to guide you, because there are some tricks and tricks into it, and there are some hoops that you need to get over when using a VPS if you want to keep it secure. It is a reason why we have VPSs, to basically be able to run them 24/7. For the Mac Mini, it is expensive. You can run it 24/7. It is inherently safe as well, but the way we set up OpenClaw in this video, it's going to be safe either way. Well, safe to the best of our capabilities. And it is beginner friendly as well, but you are also going to be running into some issues because there are a lot of bugs with OpenClaw. And basically, I'd like to say that the local setup is just a high barrier to entry. So for the sake of this video, we are going to set it up on a VPS, but whatever I'm doing on this VPS, you can basically replicate on a local machine as well. Actually, for local, all you have to do is basically go in, open your terminal, and then take this and paste that in there and hit enter. And now you have OpenClaw. And the rest of that, the installation process, you can basically just follow on a VPS. All right, so now that you know about VPS versus local, and we are gonna go for a VPS setup, now we're gonna start the beginner-friendly guide to setting up OpenClaw to run for you 24/7. And I promise it is gonna be very, very simple. I'm gonna stand behind your back all the time, just like the monkey I am. And also, I'm gonna make sure that it's not overwhelming so that you're crushing yourself in headaches and smoking cigarettes like I did there for a few days. I don't know what happened. And in the end, you're gonna have your little agentic team like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and whatever. And yeah, it's gonna just feel really nice, and you're gonna have it set up. We're gonna have a little multi-agent system here. So let's jump into it. Now, in the description below, you have a link which is gonna lead you to the VPS solution Hostinger, which is gonna lead you to this website right here. Now, keep in mind that link is an affiliate link. It is gonna give me a little bit of money whenever you buy something using it, and that is to support the channel. You don't have to do that. You can search Google and just go to Hostinger on your own. But if you wanna support the channel and for the tremendous work that I've put into making this video, then I appreciate it. Once you're inside of Hostinger here, you're gonna basically go down, and I recommend you go for a KVM2 or KVM4 plan. You can always start with the KVM2. You click on choose plan, and this is gonna be enough computing power for you to run OpenClaw on securely and do whatever you need to do with it. Now, it's gonna prompt you to sign up for 24 months. If you just want to play around with OpenClaw, just go for 1 month. If you want to get a good deal, I would go for the 12 months and just have that rolling. Right now, the costs of VPS servers are rising. So if you want to lock in a good deal, then you can do that. And this is because of the RAM situation around the world. So 12 months is perfectly fine. And if you can afford it, go for that. Either way, I would recommend not putting on the auto backup right now. You don't need it because the way we're going to handle OpenClaw, it's basically going to be able to auto backup on its own. And you are going to choose a server location. You're going to choose the server that it recommends you, that is the closest to you and has the best latency. And for the operating system, it is very important that you follow this advice right here. You click on Ubuntu and you don't choose 25.10, you choose 24.04 LTS, which is the latest stable Ubuntu version, which is what we need to run our OpenClaw. Cool. Once you have that done, just click on continue, get your VPS, and we're going to jump into the next step. Now that you're inside of your hosting there and you're basically got your VPS set up, or well, you paid for it, it's getting set up, you're going to be prompted to create a new root password. I recommend making it something very, very safe, and you save that somewhere securely so that you're able to basically come back in if you need it. But for now, we're not even going to use the root password much, but you should still put it so that you can protect your server from intrusions from other people. Make it a strong password. And once that's done, you're going to be met with your overview dashboard here, most likely. Now, I bought another server just so that we could do this little experiment and, well, to do this setup with you guys. And once you're in here, you're going to go to Docker Manager, and we're going to start the installation of your OpenClaw. You click on install for the Docker Manager, and once that's done, we're going to just circle back. It might take you about 2 minutes or so for the Docker to actually install. All right, so now that the Docker is installed, we're going to click on the catalog in the sidebar, and we're going to search for OpenClaw. And once you find OpenClaw, you click on deploy. And now you're going to be met with a gateway token. Now, like the other set of videos, you don't have to save this anywhere securely anymore because it's getting stored inside of your VPS dashboard. However, now we're going to be getting our API key for the initial setup. Now, I've tried all the different setups here, and the most consistent one that gets it right is Entrophic. Now, it is a little bit more expensive, but it's fine because the setup usually doesn't cost more than $4, and we just want the initial setup to be done correctly. And later in the video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can optimize your cost so that you don't have to pay more than necessary. So now that you are met with this screen, let's go into your API keys inside of your Claude. And to get to this page, you want to go to platform.claude.com, and you're going to be basically having to add your billing. So you add a card to your profile, and then once you have a card in there, just top up like $10 or $20 so that you have that running. And once that's done, go into your API keys and then click on create key. Name this whatever you want. I'm just going to name it test. And here is my API key. No worries. This key is going to be disabled once this video is published. So if you want to try this API key, feel free to. And cool. Then let's go back into your hosting here and then paste your Entrophic API key and click on deploy. And what's going to happen now is that your OpenClaw is now going to get installed on your server, and you're going to basically have OpenClaw running now 24/7, and there's not going to be any issues with your installation because you used Entropic's model, which is very good at what it does, right? Now, the chances are that if you used another model, there could be the issue that you are running into where the config is malformed or something was not installed correctly, basically. And if this happens, I'm going to walk you through basically how you can troubleshoot these things as well. So there's a very easy way for you to basically help open your terminal and then troubleshoot whatever the issue is. Now, you're going to be using these commands right here. And also, if you want access to all of these things, you can find it in the description below, where you're going to have access to all of these basically resources right here. And So when you're using OpenClaw on your local machine, you don't need to use docker exec/it OpenClaw, because basically this command right here makes sure that we're running this command inside of the Docker that we just installed OpenClaw in. And this is what you need to do inside of your VPS for this to actually work. And now, if this doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry. I'm not a programmer either, and I had to figure this out over many hours. But basically what you do, you just go here to and copy this terminal right here. And if you want to basically configure your OpenClaw from the terminal, you would want to go into your projects and then click on terminal right here. And if anything is basically broken with your OpenClaw when you get into it, then this is the process that you go for basically. Now, you're going to have docker exec/it OpenClaw and your ID. Now, I put your ID here. Basically, what you're going to do is you're just going to take this ID right here, which is G6XG. For me, yours is going to be completely different. And you're going to remove basically all of this, paste that in. And now, once we put that in, you're going to basically be met with the OpenClaw config screen. We're not going to touch this right now, but I just wanted to show you that these commands are available to you so that you can run, for instance, if something is wrong, you can run the doctor command, which is going to basically check what your OpenClaw setup is, and it's going to try to fix those things. You are also going to have to restart your gateway at some points in this video, so this is also useful to have. And the gateway, speaking of the gateway, now what that OpenClaw is basically set as running, you're going to copy your gateway token. We're going to click on open, and we're going to paste that gateway token in that we just copied and click login. Now, it's very important here that you never share your gateway token with anybody else but yourself. And what we're inside of now is now the OpenClaw gateway dashboard. And as you can see, everything is working, nothing is wrong. And here we have a few things, but we're going to basically, in this video, we're going to set up Discord so you don't have to use this session right here. There are some few useful things for you to keep a track on, which is the overview. Here you can see the different, your gateway token, for instance. You can see if your snapshot, if you are connected or if it's disconnected, and so on and so forth. Channels basically tells you what channels are connected. You can see what instances are connected. You can also see the automated chronological jobs that you have so that you can have a schedule on giving you a morning brief, for example, which we're not going to do in this video, by the way. You can have the agents menu. Here, you can basically set the default model of your agent. And in this video, we're going to talk about setting up dedicated agent and persistent agents for each of your channels as well. And then we also have the skills, which is good to keep an eye on if you want to basically, let's say you want to connect another skill to your OpenClaw, then this is a pretty good place for you to check into all of that. But for now, skip all that. Let's start using OpenClaw. So before we start using OpenClaw here, there are a few things that we need to go over for your OpenClaw. So when we write inside of OpenClaw here, hey, it is now going to initialize a booting setup where it's basically just going to ask, who am I? Who are you? Let's figure this out together. What should I call you? And what do you want to call me? And this whole process that we're about to go through now is going to launch basically, it's going to basically tell it identity of you, the user, who are you, the soul, how the agent should behave, and also initialize the memory files for your agent. And I'm just going to talk these through a little bit. So the identity.md file, which is MD stands for markdown. It's basically going to ask, who am I? Name, vibe, role, personality. For example, Tryndamere the Orchestrator, which is my OpenClaw's name. I've named it after Tryndamere, the League of Legends character, which was my favorite. And if you change this, the assistant basically feels different. And user.md is, who is my human? This is about you, your name, time zone, what you do, what you care about, and it helps the assistant talk to you correctly and stay aligned with your goals. Now we have the soul.d file, which is one of the most important files in our OpenClaw. And these are basically the assistant's rules and style, how direct to be, boundaries, don't leak private stuff, how to act in group chats, what good help means for you. And it's basically the code of conduct for your OpenClaw on what it should be doing basically. And this is basically a prompt that gets injected into every single message that gets sent. So it is very important that we keep this file clean over time. And I'm going to talk to you later in this video on how you can do all of that so that you can have a self-improving agent as well. And then we got the memory.md files. And this is the important stuff we never want to forget, right? And it's curated. So we got short, high value facts and decisions, not a dump of everything. So we want to kind of keep it as a cheat sheet of things that we want our OpenClaw to remember at all times. And we're going to make this memory permanent with the setup that we're going for today. All right, so now that you understand that, the first thing that we're gonna do here inside of this, before we jump into our channel setup, you can do the part very, very briefly. Just write about what the OpenClaw is for, and basically make the OpenClaw have a clear vision of what is happening and what it's gonna help you with, right? And if you don't know what this is just yet, then you can basically just brain dump whatever you think that is, and you can basically clear that information up later down the line. So I'm just going to do a quick brain dump here, and then we're going to jump straight into setting up Discord and setting up all of the channels and start getting you a multi-agentic structure on your OpenClaw. All right, so I just brain dumped just a little bit into this one, and now what is happening is OpenClaw is basically going to do its booting process, set up all the soul files with whatever I gave it here. And there's some things in here that are not going to be correct for forever and forever, but for now it is completely fine. Okay, cool. So now let's jump into the next section, which is going to be about Discord versus Telegram. Make sure you stick around until the end, as I will be going over exactly what I'm using OpenClaw for. As you can see, my little agent system right here, and also how you can set up the exact same structure. And this is all coming in this video. If you don't have the patience, you skip ahead, get that knowledge in there, and then come back because you realize that you missed a few of my steps. All right, so Discord versus Telegram. It is here. I'm just gonna keep this very, very brief. I've used Telegram, I've used Discord, I've used Slack, and the clear winner is very easy. For me, Discord, it is easy to use. It has a multi-channel setup. It has better organization, easier file management, and it's just overall much more pleasurable to use than, for instance, Telegram, where everything is by default one chat, and it can be quite complicated to get it to be a multi-channel setup. And it is a much more complicated multi-channel management system than Discord is. And overall, I think as well that Discord is getting a lot more love from the developers of OpenClaw than Telegram is overall. And that is just my experience. And if you want to use Telegram, you can do that as well. It's very simple. You just ask OpenClaw to set it up with Telegram for now. We're just going to use Discord because that is my preferred channel. And let's start the setup of this. So inside of your gateway, you're just going to say, help me set up a Discord. And it's going to tell you all of the instructions that you need to follow to be able to set up Discord. But I'm going to show you step by step how to do it yourself as well. All right, so it's now gotten you the instructions on how to use Discord. And what you're going to do, you're going to go to Discord, the developer portal, and you're going to click on new application. And we're going to give this one the name. So name it whatever you named the bot. I'm going to name my Trinamere 2 and click on create. And then we're just going to verify that we are human. Cool. And now you can set an app icon if you want. So I'm just going to set this to be my SOS, and we're going to save those changes right there. Now you're going to come down into your bot settings right here, and I want you to basically take this token right here, click on reset token, enter your password. One thing that I forgot to mention, if you don't have Discord yet, you can just go to discord.com and sign up for an account, and you should be able to use this developer portal just as easily. As you can see, I've got my token right here. I'm just going to take that and I'm going to save that somewhere secure. I'm going to save it inside of my notes right now. And let's just take that, save, boom. Now, what is the next little thing? So we're going to go into privileged gateway intent and enable message content intent and server members intent. And you can find that down here, and you can see message content intent, server members intent. And we're going to save those changes right there. And now it's been successfully updated. Now we're going to go into our OAuth here, and we're going to generate a URL and check the bot and so on and so forth. So we're going to go into OAuth. And inside of OAuth, inside of the URL generator, you're going to click on bot, and you're going to click on application commands. And inside of bot permissions, you're going to enable view channels, send message, read message, history, embed links, attach files, and add reactions. And you can find all of those. So we're going to send messages. We're going to have embed links, attach files, read message history, and we're going to add reactions. And we're also going to have view channels on. And I think that's about it for this one. You can add whatever you want if you want. There were also an update now with OpenClaw where it would be able to connect to your voice channel and basically speak with you. But for now, I'm just gonna keep it neutral. Now that we have this, we want to go into our Discord and we want to create a new server as well. So go into Discord, and as you can see here, you have my little setup here. We're going to click on add a new server, create my own, and it's going to be for me and my friends. I'm just going to make this YouTube video server, and we're going to click on create. And inside of this server settings, we're going to basically click on here, click on server settings, and we just want to make sure that it's actually private, right? So you can see that the private profile is on right here. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to click on your user settings right here, click on the cogwheel, scroll down to advanced, and click on developer mode and put that to be on. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to right click on your server and then go down and copy the server ID. And you can just paste that in there for now. And I'm just going to do server ID. And then I also want you to right click on yourself. Actually, let's just send this message right here. Right click on yourself and copy user ID. And now you have user ID right there. And now that you have both of these and you have the service set up, go back into your developer portal, click on the copy of the URL right here, and then open that inside of a new tab. And here we go. Now we can add our bot to our server and just double check that you have the correct server. Click on continue and then click on authorize and verify. Cool. We've now added our bot to our server. So now we need to connect our OpenClaw to our bot as well. And we do that by taking our server ID, and we're going to take our user ID. And also, we need to send the details of our bot token as well. And that is the thing that you saved before. Now, by default, OpenClaw is not going to accept those tokens inside of the chat to keep everything secure. And that is good for you, but it's really hard if you're on a VPS and you're not able to send a, for example, API key, if you want to add an API key to your system. So how do we do this in a very simple manner? Luckily, there is a pretty easy trick that you can use. You can use something called a onetimesecret.com. So you can click on try out, go to onetimesecret.com, and then paste your bot token inside of this and enter the passphrase. I just like to make my 123, and you can make it expire whenever you want. Once this message has been viewed, it is going to self-destruct basically. So we can click on create link, and we can copy this to clipboard. We go back into our OpenClaw, and then we said our bot token password is 123. And we send that. Now, what OpenClaw is going to be able to do is going to basically go into that link, enter the password, set up the token for you basically. And it didn't reveal the secret directly, so it needs to be a passphrase entered interactively. Let me try via the browser. So now it's going to try to open the browser and interact with the website and basically find the bot token inside there for us. And you can use this process for whatever thing that you might want to share that is a secret. You can use onetimesecret.com and it'll basically be able to send that API key into your OpenClaw bot. Okay, great. We encountered our first issue here with OpenClaw. And as said, basically OpenClaw can give you a lot of edge cases where it's basically not going to work for a few things. So it didn't like the way that we handled our links before. It has never been an issue before this, but apparently it didn't like it this time around. So now we get to actually do some troubleshooting, which is exactly what I kind of wanted to happen in this video. So once this is happening right here, we're basically going to start the OpenClaw doctor. So we're going to go back into our VPS. We're going to run the terminal. Make sure you keep an idea of your ID right here. I'm just going to copy this over so we have it easily at hand. And I'm going to basically GX Perfect. So we're going to go into our terminal now, and we're going to start fixing our OpenClaw. And I was expecting this to happen, so this is all part of the plan. And we're just going to paste that in there. So this is the first troubleshooting tip that I have for you, which is to run the doctor whenever something wrong happens. And you can find that inside of the resources in the description below. So you want to now here, you want to replace your ID with your ID, which was G6XG. Claw G6XG. And now we're going to run the doctor, and I basically have it fix all of the issues that it encounters. And you can say no security channel, security audit, session locks, basically got locked out, and there you go. So add a few things. Doctor is now complete. What we're going to do now, we're just going to go back into our OpenClaw now and check if that fixed the issue. But usually there's a little bit more that we have to do. Are you able to connect now? So it's going to now check if Discord is configured. It's already disconnected. It's already connected and ready to go. Okay, so it seems like our OpenClaw connected to our Discord before, but then there was some issue with the actual session that it had. So let's go into our server now and just check. Hey, our OpenClaw is now responding. Fantastic. Perfect. So now that we have Discord connected, now we can start making use of the OpenClaw potential. And I'm going to help you 50x the potential of your OpenClaw inside of this video. For now though, you are going to have to do a OpenClaw setup, which is using a framework which I call the Northstar Framework. And if we go back into our Miro here and you scroll down to the resource here, you can see we have the Northstar Framework right here, which is basically a huge document where you're going to be able to fill out everything about you, everything about your North Star, about your business, about your goals, about your ambitions, about how you operate and how you are basically, so that your OpenClaw can start being more like your assistant, personal assistant, or right hand man or woman that is able to basically handle things for you much more efficiently. If you click into the link right here, you're going to be able to get this document, and you can find this in the description below. Now, for the sake of the video, I'm not going to fill this out really, but you can see that we have general business information, founder specific information, business logistics, audience and customer info, competitor analysis, SEO and keyword strategy, and take it slowly. You don't have to fill out everything at once, but it could be good for you to fill out at least a few of these sections so that you can really get the most power out of OpenClaw. I'm giving away this for free inside of the description below. Just click on that link and get this resource for yourself. So now that we have Discord connected as well, you can just click out this gateway. We don't really need it anymore. So once you have your Northstar sheet filled out, you can go back into your Discord, and all you can do is basically just drop that in there. It's like, hey, this is my Northstar framework. It's everything about me, my business, my goals, my ambitions, my history, and much, much more. I want you to add this to your memory so that you know more about me for the future. Cool. And basically just drop in that document right there. Now, I'm not going to do this right now because there's no point in me wasting my API tokens for this. But speaking of API tokens, we're now going to jump into how to install skills and my recommended skills as well. All right, so once you have dropped in your Northstar framework and you got an OpenClaw to basically save that information about you, let's now jump into the next section, which is going to be about basically how to install skills and my recommended skills for your OpenClaw. So skills are basically like SOPs or standard operating procedures for your AI. Skills are going to basically take the information or the process that somebody else has done already and proven that they packaged into a skill that you can then install into your AI to then do the same things, but within your own process. And For these skills, I really have a few that I recommend, and one of them is called QMD. And this one is not available on ClawHub. There is one from the founder of OpenClaw, but his skill isn't really that good. And what query markdown documents basically means, which is what QMD stands for, it's a fancy way of saying search through text notes or markdown files really, really fast. That's basically it. It's going to help you to create a knowledge base that your OpenClaw is going to be able to search through really, really fast. And what is happening here is that we're able to save a lot more token usage. And token usage is basically your AI's context or words. You can almost see it as words. One word equals one token almost. And whenever it's generating code or doing tasks, it is basically converting those tasks into words or whatever, and then passing that along. And I'm not really the best at explaining this. I don't really understand the whole gist of how that works. That's the job left for the much smarter people. But what I noticed is that my cost went down a lot the moment I started using QMD. So to install QMD and how to install skills is very, very simple. It is as simple as saying, hey OpenClaw, please install this skill for me and integrate it into our processes. That's basically it. So you're going to take this github.com QMD skill and you're going to go back to Discord and I'm going to say, hey, please install this QMD skill and set up our knowledge base and integrate yourself into it. That's it. Now what's going to happen is it's going to think, it's going to go through that website, it's going to go through this skill.md, and it's going to integrate that skill into its own process basically. So it's going to grab that skill.md content, got the full picture, it's going to install that. While it's installing that, we're going to jump into our next skill, which is the self-improving agent. And this is basically, I was contemplating between a few different skills that was doing this, and this one was by far the best one that I found. And it's basically going to help to make your agent self-learn and not repeat mistakes and keep evolving. So whenever we're doing something, we don't want to always say the same things to our OpenClaw. We want to make sure that it's evolving and it learns from the mistakes. So whenever we fix something, like it gives us, let's say it gives me a social media post and I'm saying, this doesn't sound like me at all. I don't like the way you say this. I don't like the way you say that. It's going to take that and put that into its learnings proactively and retroactively to be able to basically improve itself. Now I'm going to make sure to integrate this with our QMD process, which should also have finished installing. Now we're just going to take the link of this ClawHub right there, copy that link, go back to Discord, and it's still installing that skill. So we're just going to wait for that to finish before we actually install our second skill. All right, so now we can see that QMD has been installed and you can see the reasoning that OpenClaw has gone through here. It says no bun installed yet. Let me get the bun and QMD set up. And that is not the bread or a cake. It is basically a way of using packets or whatever. And now it installed the QMD. So let it create the skill and figure out what knowledge to index. Let me check what we have in the workspace. Now let me install the skill file and set up a QMD collection for the workspace knowledge. And this basically can be done retroactively. So if you already have an OpenClaw installed and you want to install QMD, QMD is going to be fantastic for that. And it's going to be able to basically put whatever you have in your directory or your knowledge base right now and put that into the QMD knowledge base. Cool. So now that we have that done, now we want to say, now please install this skill for me as well, so you can become better and self-improving. Make sure it integrates with our QMD skill. I accidentally sent it the Miro board and as the skill to install. So I'm just going to copy over the correct one. So I meant to actually install the self-improving agent here via ClawHub. And if you don't know already, ClawHub is basically the community-driven version of a skills marketplace where you can find skills for a lot of different things. So if you want to, for example, integrate with Trello, you have a skill for that. If you want to do a Google Workspace integration, you can do that as well. Now, I don't recommend you do a Google Workspace integration. I don't recommend you using OpenClaw for emails either. I think using OpenClaw for emails is stupid unless it is cold outreach to get you more clients. clients. It can integrate with GitHub as well, but that is already a standard skill that is already available within OpenClaw. So whatever you want a skill for, you can search right here. I have a few skills as well that I recommend that you install as well. Cool. So let's go back into Discord and we can see that I wanted it to install this skill for me so it can become better and self-improving. Make sure it integrates into our QMD skill as well. So it's going to try to add that. It's going to reason with itself, and it's basically going to install this skill for us. So while that's happening, let's jump into the next one, which is the Humanizer operator. And this is a skill that I created as well. It basically takes all the AI patterns and frameworks that AI uses to copyright or to write in general, and it basically makes it so that it doesn't use those patterns anymore. This is going to make your OpenClaw sound more human, give you better outputs, and basically get you content or scripts or whatever you need that is a lot less AI sloppy. So we're just going to click on the link here, and all of these, as said, you can get that in the master sheet below. So if you want access to this whole thing right here, where you can get everything that I've written here in this OCD non-friendly way, you can get that as well. So we're going to go into our operated humanizer, go into our Trello. And one more thing that I want you to keep a note of is that OpenClaw and VirusTotal are going to do a security scan of the skills. I would never trust the security scans too much. As you can see, mine says suspicious, and that's probably because it's a prompt injection signals in the skill.md, and I want to include a runtime script and stuff. Like, I just wanted to basically humanize my content, and that is not something that I'm injecting into your skill, right? But if you don't want to, you don't have to install this. But all it's going to do is just going to make your OpenClaw a lot more efficient in writing without AI sloppiness. And it's got 185 installs, and yeah. So anyway, otherwise, you also have other humanizer skills on the marketplace. And what I basically wanted to say in this section is that be wary of what you install. There are a lot of people out there, and not all of them have good intentions for you. And you should be wary of the skills that you install. If you can, I would recommend that you set up your own workflows on your own so that you have total control over what you're installing and how you're doing stuff. Cool. So now that we have that said, we can go in here. We can get our operator humanizer, so I can install this humanizer skill. Cool. And now you can see the self-improving agent has been installed. It's directly created learnings. It's going to do errors, learnings, feature request logs, and it's integrated with our QMD files. So all files are indexed in our workspace collection and searchable via QMD search. Added self-improvement workflow to agents.md. So how this works now, when I hit errors, get corrected, or discover better approaches, I log them into learnings. When patterns reoccur 3 times, I promote them to sole MD agents or tools so that you don't have to repeat yourself ever again. And I can see past learnings via QMD search before tackling similar problems. And this creates a feedback loop where I generally get better over time. Awesome. That's exactly what we wanted. Now we got our Humanizer Pro installed. It's going to basically 24 AI pattern detection, 500 plus banned flagged vocabulary terms across 3 tiers, personality injections, and whatnot, right? Perfect. Now, I could give you a lot more skills, but it is really up to you. It is your Lego. You build your Battlestar Galactica, you build your Star Destroyer however you want. This is your OpenClaw, and this is up to you how you want to run this and how you want to make your team of OpenClaws to basically behave. So those are all the skills I'm going to give you for now, but if you want more recommendations, you can join my school group and I'll basically get you more recommendations based on what you're looking for, and we can also build custom skills for you. Now, there's one thing that I forgot to give you as well. If you want your OpenClaw to become much, much better with its memory, I recommend that you enable memory flush before compaction. And what this is basically gonna do, I'm gonna show you. So take the prompt inside of here, which is under prompt 1, and you can just send that to your OpenClaw, and we're gonna check in when that's done. All right, so now that memory flush has been installed, I'm just gonna go over quickly how this means, but I had to ask OpenClaw just to make sure that I'm giving you the correct information here. And so whenever your conversations get too long with OpenClaw, it needs to compress or compact its conversation, which is basically taking the context window, compressing it down so that you can not waste tokens on unnecessary stuff from, let's say that you talked to it like 2 days ago. You don't want to have that inside of your context because all the context gets stored up as you speak to OpenClaw. And basically, before that compaction is done, memory flush kicks in right before. And it basically says, wait, before you throw away older messages, let me write down anything important first. So it saves key details from the conversation into your memory files before the old context gets trimmed. And that way you don't lose the progress that you've made with your OpenClaw before, and you can basically get that information back in your next conversation. And with QMD skill installed and our self-improving agent installed with memory flush, we now have a heck of an AI agent that is much better than any of the AI agents the way that they have set it up on any other YouTube channel. And give yourself a little applause right now because we've hit a point where you're going to be able to use OpenClaw much better than before. Cool. All right, so a little note here as well. If you want to make your OpenClaw even stronger, you can enable hybrid search as well, which makes your agent actually find what it saved. You can enable context pruning, which smooths out the memory management so you stop repeating yourself. And you can also enable session indexing. Now, these are all advanced topics. We're going to talk about this in another video, but for now, install QMD. And I don't find this to be in this priority. I actually like to have QMD in place number 2. Cool. And if you don't know, you can just give this to OpenClaw and it should install this for you as well. All right. We've finally hit the point where we're going to go over how to make your OpenClaw 50 times more powerful with dedicated agents. We can make these dedicated agents work together. We can reduce your cost even more. And it is not fake like the other videos. Nice. Now, I just want to go through our little plan here. So we're finally going to move into showing you what this whole master plan is. And this is the OpenClaw setup to make you money, basically. You're going to be like the grandma right here, counting your dollaroos once you get this set up. And the theory is basically, well, not theory. The process is basically that you are the big boss. That is you. You're Sydney Sweeney here, and you never force, you always flow. And you control the orchestrator. And the orchestrator is your OpenClaw main, which has all of its Lego bricks, all of the skills. It has humanization, outbound email, it has SEO, it has content creation, firecrawl, security, offer creation, article writing, developer, and GitHub, and so on and so forth. You stack the Lego in whatever way you want. And your Discord channel basically has multiple channels. It has its article writer channel. It has an article writer. When the article writer has its own process attached to it. So it takes an idea, sends research to find competitors, creates a knowledge file, reasons with existing knowledge to classify the intent. Now this is SEO terms and stuff, right? So don't worry, you don't have to understand this. It sets up an outline and bullet points for each section. It writes the content section by section. It generates images if needed, and then it sends that to the developer to integrate that into your website. Now, obviously you need to have a lot more set up before that for this to be, but this is one of the use cases that I'm using OpenClaw for. We also have a lead magnetizer, which can take an idea, a video, or an article, it sends that to researcher to expand upon it. It creates a knowledge file, reasons with its existing knowledge, and creates a valuable lead magnet for users in my voice using Gamma. And I have an example here, for example. One of these lead magnets that were created using OpenClaw is actually one that I got a lot of leads with, which is how to install and use the AI Humanizer skill, which is the skill that you just installed. And this video right here, well, this is going to get replaced with this video instead. And yeah, as you can see, this lead magnet is freaking amazing. And it infuses my voice, and it infuses my links, and it infuses basically how I would teach someone on how to do the Humanizer skill, basically, or any other skill. We also have the researcher agent, which researches our competitors or researches whatever we want it to. It can monitor Reddit, it can monitor Instagram, it can monitor X, and it adds all of those ideas to our idea vault, and it adds that to knowledge base. This is basically the system that we're going to set up now. Now, obviously, we're not going to set up all of these agents from scratch, but if you are curious on how to set these agents up from scratch, we're going to set up one agent today. But if you want to set up more agents, I'm going to basically be creating a lot of these guides on my school channel. So you can basically get your agent set up. You can request an agent. I'm going to figure out with my noggin here how to set it up in the best way possible. And I'm going to give that to you. Cool. So, with that said, let's jump into the creation of persistent and dedicated agents. All right, so to create persistent agents inside of your Discord in the way that I had it before, what you're gonna do is you're gonna create a new channel, and I like to do an emoji for my channels. I'm just gonna do a search magnifying glass. I'm gonna do Mrs. I'm gonna do researcher. Cool. We're going to create that channel. Now, inside of this channel, when we write in this channel, it's going to create a new session with your OpenClaw. And I'm going to take this prompt right here, and I'm going to go over what this means as well. So it says basically create a new persistent agent inside of this channel, named Mrs. Researcher, and make her my dedicated research assistant. Set Sonet 4.5 as her primary model. So I'm setting a new model for her as well. And this is where cost optimization comes into play. And we're going to use Mrs. Researcher for research, related tasks, leave orchestrated agent U unchanged. You should make sure new agents don't interfere outside of the channel, except when needing to communicate with another agent for handoffs, for example. Other agents should be able to call on another while making sure that the agent called upon uses a dedicated model, so we're always cost optimized. This agent should live inside of research, and here we want to basically just tag our channel, so we know it knows which channel it should be living inside. And it should create its own soul file and so on and so forth. The agent should also be able to use our knowledge base and GMD. Perfect. So we send that over, and now what is happening is that, well, Orchestrator is now going to set up a channel bound agent. And it doesn't have any information about this so far, but we are going to be able to actually see this agent created in real time. If we click into our OpenClaw inside of our hostinger again, we can go into our agents right here, and we can refresh this once it has done the setup. So we're just going to come back when that setup is done. Okay. All right, so we are now back, and as you can see, it basically checks our current config, our docs, and channel bound agents. Now, if we go into our agents here, we should be able to refresh. It says disconnected, no reason, all good. We just go back, get our gateway token, log back in, and we should be live. And now we can see inside of our agents here, we have Mrs. Researcher, and she is on Claude Haiku 4.5. I did say Sonet 4.5, but I'm guessing that was lost in translation. You gotta check that sometimes. And if you just want to change that, you can change. But for now, Haiku is actually completely fine because we want to be more cost efficient. And as you can see, agent researchers equals Mrs. Researcher, model Sonet 4.5, cost optimized. And one thing to note here, agents love to lie to you. So sometimes you have to really double, triple, quadruple check that they are actually doing the things that they're saying, because sometimes they just say things to make you like, oh my God, this is great. It's doing all the things that I wanted to, but sometimes they're actually lying to you. So it's bound to the channel researcher. All messages here route to Mrs. Researcher, not the orchestrator. Workspace researcher with her own soul, agents, user identity tools. And so she has access to the tools that you do. We got agent to agent enabled between main and researcher. I can hand off research tasks to her and vice versa. She copied API credentials so she can use Sonet 4.5 immediately. After the restart completes, any message you write in this channel will be handled by Mrs. Researcher on Sonet 4.5. My main agent won't answer here anymore. She owns this space. Try sending her a message, and there we go. Gateway restart done. Is now live. Cool. Who are you? And what model are you on? All right, so as we can see, our Mrs. Researcher is actually live, and she is operating on Claude Sonet 4.5. Apparently, I think that my config here is lying to me, and it is, there we go, primary model is actually Sonet 4.5. It just had the wrong model inside of here. So now we can see that if we go back into our gateway here, we can see that we actually have a new session here. And let's go here. Boom. So we have a completely new session with its own context and everything. So this means that you can talk to your orchestrator agent and have its own context window, and you can do your research agent and it has its own context window. And now we're touching base on the grounds where you're able to cost optimize and make your setup much more efficient. Cool. So now that we have this, now I could load up a lot of skills. I could give her access to a lot of things, but we're going to wait on that a little bit more because I'm going to touch base a little bit more on how you can cost optimize even further, right? So the idea here is that we want to reduce our costs. We don't want to spend too much stuff on money. And yeah, so now you have a more powerful with dedicated agents. And now, if you ever want to replicate this process, you can basically just do exactly this. But once you've set up 1 or 2 agents, you can actually ask your orchestrator to just save how it's done this in the past to its memory so that you're able to replicate that process and set up a setup wizard for your different persistent agents. But yeah. The issue that I had with a lot of the other videos is that the persistent agents were not persistent. And basically, it was just their main agent speaking to them in that same channel, which is completely wrong. And that is not how you set up a persistent agent. The way we've done it now is how you set up a persistent agent that actually works. Cool. Let's jump into cost optimization and let's reduce your costs even further. And the way we're going to do this is quite simple. It is basically, we're going to sign up for OpenRouter. Now, OpenRouter is basically a way for you to use multiple different models using one API key. The issue is that if we want to set up with ChatGPT, we want to set up with Anthropic, we want to use Kimmy, we want to use Llama, we want to use whatever else API you have, right? I mainly just use GPT and Claude. But if we want to basically have one space or one API key for that, I would recommend OpenRouter. They're going to take like a 5% upcharge on your API fees. That is completely fine because we'll be saving so much more money using them anyway. So go to openrouter.ai, click on Get API Key. You can click on Create. And I'm just going to name this one YouTube test and click on create. We're going to copy this key here into a safe place. Now we're going to get a little bit technical. So inside of your config, so the thing is we could send this to our OpenClaw and have it set that up for us. But in my experience, setting up your OpenClaw with an API key through its own process usually leads to disaster. So we're going to basically start this process right here, which is the OpenClaw config. So go into your hostinger and go into your terminal. You want to go into your projects here and click into your project. You can click into your terminal and remember your ID once again. And we're going to basically go back and you're going to paste in your ID. All right, so we're going to paste in our ID, which was G6G6XG, and yours is not the same as mine, so keep that in mind. And yeah, basically paste that. Now we're going to start the OpenClaw config, and we're going to basically do local, and now we want to use our arrow keys here. So whenever you want to select something here, you've selected using the arrow keys, and then you use enter to select that. But the next step, we're actually going to use spacebar. So go into model, and I want you to scroll down to OpenRouter. And you're going to enter your API key that you just copied. So I'm just going to take that now. And there we go. Press enter. And now we are going to have a lot of different models here. Now, I'm going to give you the number one tip is to turn off OpenRouter Auto. I don't want you to use this because it is not good. It is going to waste a lot of your tokens on just reasoning with itself. I recommend instead that you set up OpenRouter and you have 3.5 Haiku, you have 3.5 Sonnet. I want you to also do Claude Haiku 4.5. and you're gonna do Opus 4.6, and there's no need for you to do Opus 4.5 because Opus 4.6 and Opus 4.5 are basically cost the same. I would, however, also do Claude Sonnet 4.6. Now you can scroll down even further, and the way I'm selecting these ones one by one is by using spacebar. And I would recommend you get Flash 2.5 and then also Flash 3.1 preview and Thrash. That should be it for now. And we can go down even more and we can start using Kimi 2K as well. 2.5 and also 2. And we can also now go to GPT, and I would recommend that you get GPT 5.2 and also 5.2 codecs, which is fantastic for programming, and also GPT-5 Mini and Nano, which is going to allow you to basically use their very, very small models, very, very cheap. And you're going to be able to use this for very simple tasks. So for instance, your heartbeat does not need to be an Opus 4.6 task, which is very expensive because that's going to run every 30 minutes, but you do want it to be used for your heartbeat. So you can use Nano for this, which is going to lower your costs significantly. And if you don't know what a heartbeat is, it is basically OpenClaw's way of sending a pulse to see what is happening every 30 minutes. So if it's checking, for instance, it's checking a YouTube channel to see if anything new is happening there or whatever is happening, right? Whatever you set the heartbeat to do, that is what it's going to do, basically. I could probably explain that better, but I'm getting a little bit tired. Ask me in the school group and I'm happy to share. And yeah, those are the models that we're going to select. I'm just going to select enter and we're going to do a quick health check and we are going to do a little continue. Perfect. Done. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to restart our gateway. So click on restart inside of your hostinger. And this is basically going to restart your VPS and also the gateway with that. And once that's done, we'll get back into it. All right, so our VPS has restarted and now we can log into our OpenClaw VPS or our gateway again. And we can go down into our agents and we should now be seeing our OpenRouter models inside of our agents. This is fantastic and this is great news because this means that we just unlocked for you a way to run OpenClaw much more cheaper. And this is a little cheat list of all of these models that you can use with your OpenClaw. Now, for sake of this, I'm just gonna take a screenshot of this and I'm gonna send this over to OpenClaw. You can see that auto was installed even though I removed that option. I'm a little bit concerned about that, but either way, and we just tell I just installed all of these into our config so you have access to OpenRouter now, which I want to make sure we have in a knowledge base file to make sure agents know what models they can use for themselves. Boom. So we just set that up. And now basically, whenever you set up a new channel, you think really hard and you're like, okay, which models should I use for this task? You can also ask your OpenClaw which models would make the most sense to run this task efficiently. And then you try it out and then you see, is this output good enough for me? Or if that output is not good enough for you, then you want to go one step up in the model that you're using. There's no one size fits all, unfortunately, as you know. So whatever you're doing, just add this to your knowledge base and then try out, around and find out and see whatever is working for you. All right, so now we have started our cost optimization problem, and now you're able to set a new model for your OpenClaw, and now your cost should not be so exhaustive. You basically managed to cost optimize. And as you can see, I basically set up our Claude Opus. Now we're set up OpenClaw for less than $5. I spent $5 on getting all of that set up. And now we can finally start using cheaper models. So the first thing that I'm going to do is for our main orchestrator agent, I'm going to want him to use Kimi Kimi 2K 2.5 basically. All right, so now that we have our OpenRouter set up with all of our keys, we can now ask our model to basically change into another model, right? So I is gonna send it here. We want it to be OpenRouter Kimi K 2.5. That's the model we want to use. Let me know. Yep, 2.5. Change in config, and so that you, the orchestrator, is using that model to communicate with me now. Cool. So it can require a little bit of convincing to get our OpenClaw to actually change their model. But if you want to change your model, very simply, you can go into your agents here, you can go here, and you can change into Kimi K 2.5. You can save that and you can reload your config, and now they should be on Kimi K 2.5. It's going to start that process right now, and if something breaks here, then you know the process. We run our doctor command in our executable with our ID, and then we basically run the doctor fix, and it should fix your open config. And when it's run the doctor, you restart your VPS so that your gateway can restart as well, and then everything should be fixed. That is the issue and the solution most of the time. All right, this video is getting very, very long, so we are gonna start looking into security. I have a rule here. The rule number 1 is don't be doofus. Now, don't give access to your Gmail. Don't give access to your wallet. Don't give access to your crypto. Don't trade with OpenClaw, and don't trade crypto with OpenClaw. Most of the things that you see online regarding trading on Polymarket or with crypto with OpenClaw are fake. They are trying to scam you and shill you into following an account which they control so that they can manipulate where people are placing their bets and basically use your money to make more money. Be careful out there. Don't get scammed. And OpenClaw has recently launched a ton of security updates as well. So the security that I'm seeing from OpenClaw recently after these updates is way, way better than what was before. Hostinger by default has better security for your OpenClaw as well. So one thing you can do inside of your Hostinger, you can enable your firewall for a bit of extra protection, which is basically going to allow people, or basically make sure that people from outside don't connect to your VPS. And it is a very simple firewall. It is not going to get everything, but you can activate it and it's going to be there on, and it's just going to be a little bit of extra protection. View it as a condom. It is not 100%, but it works. The second thing is you want to basically protect yourself from prompt injections and other attack methods. And you can use skills such as the anti-injection skill from ClawHub. One of the things that I'm seeing, however, I am pretty good at knowing what I'm doing with OpenClaw, except when it comes to that ultra nerdy stuff, because then I'm a simple smooth brain. I don't know this. But if you want to make it extra secure, you can install this skill. My caveat here though is that if you install this skill, OpenClaw becomes so much worse at following direction, and it is not going to be as autonomous as if you didn't install this skill. So be careful with that if you want to be very, very secure. But overall, you are going to be quite secure by default because you're not running a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate corporation that needs its security. And those companies are most likely not running OpenClaw anyway. And if you are, congratulations. Maybe not use OpenClaw for your secret files. Use it for fun. I don't know. So here, rule number 1, right? Don't be a doofus and you'll be completely fine running OpenClaw. Oh, okay, cool. Now we are at the home stretch of our OpenClaw journey here. And after all of this time, we are finally moving into our final part, which is setting up your first automated workflow with OpenClaw. I'm going to be releasing a lot more workflows for OpenClaw, both for marketing, for content creation, for daily life, for creating businesses, for being AI first in your business. And this workflow is basically going to help you to keep up with trends and also start expanding your knowledge base on autopilot. So let's set this up. So my idea for this process is to basically integrate an API so that we can start looking for videos on a channel specifically every single day, and then pull in all of the new videos that this creator is making from Instagram, from YouTube, and basically put all of those transcripts into our video files. So I'm gonna basically do this right now. So I'm gonna go to my tool here, which is called So Scripted. I'm gonna log in. And So Scripted is my solution where I basically managed to make it so that you can grab transcripts from Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, YouTube, and Pinterest, or whatever. So you can use all this API right here to basically grab any sort of video that you want. So we also have an MCP right here. So I'm just going to integrate this P with my integrate this MCP and run it in our and add knowledge to our database. This is so scripted, and it can help extract transcripts videos on all platforms. Cool, and we're just gonna go into our API as well, and I'm not gonna leak my API here, but I'm gonna take my API and I'm gonna paste that in as well. So I'm just gonna paste my API key and then send that into our bot. And now what should happen is that our orchestrator is gonna integrate our MCP integration and also integrate my API. So now it's gonna be able to take any transcript from any video online and basically add that to our knowledge base. So we're gonna jump back in once that is set up correctly and done. All right, so as you can see, it is now going through our website on how to add the MCP server, and it's also gonna add that MCP server to OpenClaw so it can use this process alone. If you use So Scripted, that's fine. Another option, and I'm gonna leave a link for that in the description below, is also to use Superdata, which is gonna be able to do the same thing, but it's not gonna have the same system setup that I have right here. And if you wanna use So Scripted, you can use it for like 15 bucks a month, and you'll have unlimited videos to transcribe, basically. Not unlimited, I don't really remember what it is, but you can see right here. 9, you can do 50 credits per month. 1 credit is basically one whole video. I'm pretty sure you're not going to have to transcribe more than 50 videos per month, but if you do, up to you. But you also have Superdata, which is also able to do this for you, and I'm gonna leave a link in the description below so that you can use this for free as well. You get 300 free requests. However, the documentation and the implementation is a little bit harder than what my solution is. Cool. So now basically So Scripted MCP has been integrated and updated, and we also have our internal with our API key. And now we can basically say transcribe this YouTube video URL and check my URL, and you can now basically get that transcription into your knowledge base. So I'm gonna take a video, let's take this video right here, which is some YouTube. Actually, let's just go into our YouTube. All right, so let's take this video, for example, and actually let me instead take the channel, and I want to basically start tracking this channel. So I want to start tracking this channel right here. And let's do this inside of a new channel. Let's do idea tracker. And let's add an emoji to this. Let's do emoji, and let's do idea, light bulb. Perfect. So this is a new channel. I want you to use the So Scripted MCP and API to track this channel right here and download any new video transcript into our knowledge base. Knowledge base whenever a new video drops from this guy. So now what it's gonna do, it's gonna integrate with the MCP. It's gonna start tracking this channel, and whenever a new video is uploaded to the channel, it's going to transcribe that video, add it to our knowledge base, and now we can use all of that information for content. We can use it for social media posts. We can use it for SEO. We can use it for writing news. We can use it to keep up with a new video if you want. And we can just use this to make our OpenClaw stronger and smarter. So let's say that you're working in real estate. Let's say that you're working in house cleaning. Let's say that you are tracking the house cleaning topic on Reddit, on X, on YouTube, on whatever, right? And whenever something new drops, you're instantly able to take that, make a video for your audience, or write an article about it on your website, pulling in new viewers onto your website, pulling in new viewers to your Instagram or your whatever social media, and you're basically able to capture those things the moment they hit. And that is the power of basically tracking channels and getting videos. Now, there are a bunch of other workflows that you can integrate, and you don't have to use my solution. You can use SuperData. They have 100 free credits. That seems like a great deal. Just use the link in the description below, and you'll have that set up in no time. Now, Scripted has an MCP server that you can implement though, so you should be able to basically get this one shot. And so it's checking the configuration, the MCP. We'll basically get back once it has this done. Now, what we can do once this is basically done is that we can now set this to do this daily. So we can say, I want you to check this channel daily for new videos and take those transcriptions that we haven't documented yet, and add to our knowledge base under a YouTube files folder with this specific creator. Well, it's going to track this channel. Once I send this, what is going to happen is it's going to send in an automated job that is going to be able to do this every single day and basically add those files to our knowledge base. So this is the workflow. That is one of the workflows. Now, obviously this video is so long and I'm getting a little bit tired here. Frankly, I don't want to make this video much longer than it already is. Take this resource, make your own workflows, let your imagination run wild. You can set up your first workflow. You can take my workflows. You can create your own workflows. Like, your mind and your imagination is the only limit here right now. And you are the best determiner of doing that. You've also learned how to not spend over 300 overnight for your OpenClaw, and you can now cost optimize your different channels and your new persistent agents with the model that you want to use. Other than that, there's not too much here. So guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and make sure that you subscribe. That is, you know, this video was very, very long. Thank you so much for watching through. If you made it through, you're a hero. Give yourself a pat on the back, and let's make sure that you join the school group so that you can take part of any new workflows that I might release. And if you need help with your company's SEO or GEO, so you get ranked in LLMs, or if you want AI services, just go to either of these websites and book a meeting with me, and I'll help you out as well. Perfect. Guys, this has been me. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.